Hey everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family, and I'm starting dinner tonight. I'm going to have some little hamburger steaks, and I'm going to have some mashed potatoes, and I'm going to boil a cabbage, and we're going to have gravy to go with it. But right now I'm pouring up some tea. I made a fresh jug of tea. I just did a video showing you how I did my tea, so go back and look at it and see if you can find it. It is delicious. Now I need a little bit more water, so let me get the water. We're gonna finish filling up that jug. We don't need much. And remember, I told you to leave your tea bags in your boiler. And because there's still a little bit of goodie left in there, so I run that water over it and it gets out the rest of it. So then I just squeeze it, push it out with my spoon and squeeze it. We got tea. So it's some fresh tea for tonight. So I'm going to set this out of the way, and then I'm going to get over here and we're going to start. Ooh, that's noisy. Let's cut up our potatoes. Let's see. I thought I was ready. Let me get my knife. Yeah, this is kind of like real cooking. Y'all going to get to see me do it all. So I'm going to cut up my potatoes. I've already peeled them and washed them. So I want to cut them up. You know I don't cut them too big. I cut them kind of small. They cook quicker that way. If they don't have as much that they've got to cook through, I guess you want to say. More surface exposed. So there's just two of us, as you know. I tell you that all the time. I know y'all know it. So I don't need many. And you know what we do with leftover mashed potatoes here. We do potato patties. And I want you to look for a video that Stephanie has done. And I don't know if it'll come out before or after this one. But she did sweet potato patties and a maple bacon butter. And let me tell you how delicious that was. Let me get some water over the potatoes. But yes, that sweet potatoes, I love sweet potatoes anyway. And when she did that and adding that maple and bacon to the butter, oh, it just did something to it. And it just ramped up those sweet potatoes. Okay, so we're going to put some salt in our potatoes. I think you can see everything I'm doing right here. There. Because as we know, potatoes love salt. So next, I want to go ahead, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut up my cabbage. Now this cabbage has been washed. I've just got to cut it up and put it, peel that outside leaf. I don't like, it had a little dark spot. I don't like that. So, and I've showed you before, but I'm going to show you again how I take the core out of that cabbage. See that hard core right there? Lay it on its side. Can you see? Now, lay it on its side and come in at an angle with your knife and just cut it right out. And it's gone. Let's do the other one. And that is so much quicker. Now, I don't want these in too large pieces, but I don't want little chunks either. And so I'm going to cut them up. And then we're going to go ahead and put it over in this pot. Like I said, it's already been washed. So we don't have to worry about doing that right now. How's everybody been doing today? It is a beautiful day, and you can't see outside the window. I need to turn you around a little bit so you can see out the window. It's, I see a gloomy day. We've had a little bit of sunshine, but it's pretty cloudy right now. I think we're supposed to have some rain set back in. I know that pot looks real full, but yeah, this cabbage is going to cook down. So, and you know, cabbage is a watery vegetable, so it doesn't take a whole lot of water when you're cooking it, because it's going to make water. So let's turn it. None of it's going to cook if I don't turn it on, will it? So let's turn that on. Now I'm going to put some salt and pepper on the cabbage. Have you ever made a cabbage casserole? I haven't. I thought about making that tonight. I just didn't. We love boiled cabbage. And I need to make a cabbage casserole for you guys one night. It is so, so good. Now, I want to put some butter in this cabbage. And I've got about half a stick, 4 tablespoons here. And we're going to put that right in there. And that's going to melt down in there and all in that cabbage. And it's going to be so good. Throw that away. Now, next. See, we've been talking, how long? We've been talking just under 7 minutes. I've got potatoes going. I've got my cabbage going. And I'm about to start some little hamburger steaks. I'm going to put a lid over this for now, just to get it started. Then we'll take the lid off, because you know potatoes, they're real starchy and they'll boil over and they'll make a mess all over your stove. Trust me, I've done it enough. So I don't want you to do it. So I've got just a little over a pound of ground chuck. Let me get my skillet started. A little over a pound of ground chuck, and I added some salt and pepper. Now, I'm not going to do measurements today. We're just cooking. I've got some, well, no, I didn't. Some onion powder. I'm going to just sprinkle some in. Let me get some garlic powder. Yeah, this is where I keep my overflow. It's right outside my door there. So let's put a little bit of garlic, granulated garlic powder in here. And I'll fill this little jar up later. I like to keep it, because that won't fit in my spice drawer. And some parsley. Got to make it pretty. And that's all we're doing. I'm not putting bread. I'm not putting eggs. I'm not putting anything other than what you say. I want to taste the meat. And that garlic and that little bit of onion powder is just going to give it a little added flavor. I don't want bread. I don't put bread in it. If you want to, you can. Or the flour. I feel like I'm not making meatloaf. I'm making hamburger steaks. So get that mixed up real good. Ooh, it's gonna be. He's gonna be surprised when he gets home tonight, because we haven't had these in a while. Yeah, don't make them too big. You can go back for more. I don't want a great big one. I can go back for a second piece if I want it. Now looky there. Kind of take your hand. Here's what I do. Get it formed. Then I take my hand, take my thumb, and go around and kind of smooth out those edges. Now looky there. And see, that's about how thick I want it. And they say if you put your finger, put an indent in the middle, it won't puff up as much. I think it does, but we'll do it anyway. let's get this. We're going to have quite a few little hamburger steaks here for just 2 of us. But you know, I bet we can come up with something to make out of the leftovers. Don't you think? Because I know we'll have leftovers. Well, it's not going to make as many as I thought. We're going to have about 4 here. Well, we might have 5 because I don't want them too big. It's so easy to throw this meal together, and there's no reason. You spent money on the groceries, so why not go ahead and cook them? He's worked all day. He's ready to come home and relax. And when I was working, I felt the same way. I wanted to relax. I didn't want to come home, get dressed, to go out to eat, or stop on the way home and you're late getting in. And so I just wanted to be done with it. Now, let's put that in there. And I've got to go wash my hands. Hot, soapy water. And get all that hamburger off of them. Yeah. Can y'all hear this water running? Ooh, get them good and clean. I've got a nail brush here that I use to get under my fingernails. There we go. Got a clean washcloth, so I'm going to come over there and wipe down my board. Here we go. Looky there. Keep cleaned up when you're cooking. Clean up as you go. It will make all the difference in the world to you when you're done with your supper, dinner, whatever you want to call it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and start some little bits of cabbage I missed. I'm going to go ahead and start my onions. So, have you got any of these? I put them on the handles of my iron skillets when I'm cooking. See these? They're the best things. I need some more. I use them, and I've actually used them for other things too. Sometimes if I just need something to pick up something real quick, I'll grab one of those instead of getting out that great big pot holder. So let's get out our small skillet. We're going to put it back here. Now put that on there. That's what I got it out for, isn't it? And I'm going to turn that down. I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to get some butter. Y'all stay with me. I'm going to get some butter, get my knife, and we're going to get that onion going in that skillet. Couldn't get a hold of it. Now, let's cut this onion up. We're going to peel it. Somebody told me today that you can take the root end of this onion and plant it. Have y'all ever heard that? I'm trying it with some cabbage right now. Not cabbage, some collard greens. Because somebody told me that they took the bundle, and when you cut off the ends to plant it, and it'll grow collard greens, the leaves. So I'm trying that. So I'll see how that works. I've done it with celery. I cut off the end and just put that part in. I put it in a little bowl with some water or cup and let it root. And it grew celery stalks from it. Okay, so let me get some butter in here in this pan. I've got 1 onion, so I'm going to put about, oh, that's not quite a tablespoon. Let's put a tablespoon of butter. That's close. So I'm going to cut my onion in half moons. I don't want them real thin because when I cook them down, I want them to cook away. So that's what, maybe 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to put them over in that butter, and we're going to let them slow cook. And then we can serve them on top of our hamburger steaks. And with our gravy, and it's going to be so good. Yeah, I say that a lot, but I mean it. Oh, I mean it. All right, so let's get this in there. See, that's quick, and it's easy, and it's done. So I'm going to put just a little bit of salt. Salt's going to bring out the water that's in it and kind of sweat them down, but I want to put some pepper in there too. Good stuff. Our potatoes are boiling, so let's uncover those. We might just stick that lid right there. How about that? Now, I think I've told you guys before, I keep a grocery shopping bag when I'm cooking, and that's where all my scraps go. And then I can just pick this bag up and throw it away all at one time. There we go. This is coming along quick. Coming along quick. So let's check these. Oh, there's a lot of grease coming out of this meat. Oh, it's browning up beautifully. I need my apron on. Yeah, I've got to get me some aprons. And there we go. We've been cooking 17 minutes looking at my camera, and I've got potatoes going. Cabbage is cooking. It's already boiling. Onions are going, and I just turned the hamburger steaks, and we're soon going to be ready. Take those up and make some gravy. You can't get any quicker than this on a Friday night and have a good, delicious meal. Oh my goodness. We should have did this live so y'all could be right here with me. Now, I think I'm going to leave this lid off for a few minutes. I want this cabbage to cook. Can you see? Oh, I think you can see that. I want the cabbage to cook, but I want some of that water to cook out of it also. And it's so pretty down in there. It gets, those darker green leaves get darker, and that color just comes out when it heats up. We're going to put our hamburger in that and our onions on top. Well, we're going to put it back in the gravy. Let's put it that way. We can move some of this stuff. Maybe just get it out of our way. This is probably my least amount of workspace in my entire kitchen, but I love it over here. I love looking out my window, and I'm going to hold you guys up here so you can see what I'm looking at. See? Now, is that not a beautiful sight when I'm in here cooking? I just love it. See if I can get you back over here and situate it again without dropping you. Get over where you can see what I'm doing. There you go. Now you can see everything. But I love to stand here, and especially in the evenings when the sun's going down and that beautiful sunset is it's just amazing. Yeah, excuse me, I've got to take this sweater off. I got chilly earlier. I went outside for a bit, and I just never took my sweater off. Now that's more comfortable. Can you see what this is looking like here? Can you see that? I think you can. It is coming along so beautifully. That's going to be done. But you know what? What we're going to do, though, when we make our gravy, we're going to slip this meat back in that gravy and let it simmer some with it. Let's check our potatoes. You know, potatoes don't take long, and we started those first. They're almost done. They take about 10 minutes to cook, and so while they're cooking, I can get out my mixer. See, have everything ready for you, and that way it's quicker for you, and it's waiting on you instead of you waiting on it. We need butter. We need butter, and we need milk. And you know what? I'm going to choose, y'all have seen me do this before. I'm using buttermilk. I'm using buttermilk in my mashed potatoes, and it is so good. So, so good. I like to use the whisk on my mixer. I'm not dragging out the big one. We're just going to use the little hand mixer for this. And see, it's ready for me. And ooh, and those onions have started. I've been thinking about doing this meal, and tonight just seemed like the night to do it. So I decided I would just bring you along with me. I think this is ready. I'm going to take this up. Now, like I said, I'm going to be putting it back in. I'm going to let that one stay in there another minute or two, and that one too, because I want it to get a little more color on it. So I've got to find something to put this grease in. I'm just going to get a little bowl. Just a little bowl. Listen, can y'all hear that? That's the sound of goodness. That is the sound of goodness cooking. Deliciousness. Let me stir these onions. Now, let me tell you this on the cabbage. I have before, I didn't today, but a lot of times when I'm cooking cabbage, I will cut up an apple and put in. I use like a Macintosh or Red Delicious apple. I wouldn't use a Granny Smith. I love them, but I don't want that tartness in my cabbage. And but that would be good. And it's good in the cabbage. To get some of this grease off. I'm just going to use my spoon. I'm going to leave some of this grease because I'm going to make gravy. I'm not going to leave much because I think I'll add some fresh oil to it. Oh yeah. And it'll let what's left in the skillet brown a little better too. Because you know this meat has a lot of water in it too. Not only fat, it has water in it. And you don't want that. I'm so glad y'all are with me today. Let's see. Let's check these potatoes again, because once they get going, they don't take long. Oh, one more minute, and they will be done, and we will be draining those off, and we're going to cream them up, and we'll just let them sit here on the stove and stay warm till he gets home, and we're ready to feed him. He's not going to be expecting this kind of a meal. Not tonight. We're going to use beef broth. I'm not going to use water. And I'm not going to use milk. We're going to use the beef broth. I've got my brown gravy mix, y'all know I like, and a little bit of beef bouillon is what we're going to put in our gravy. And of course, you know when I make brown gravy, I'm going to add balsamic vinegar. Okay, let's go drain the potatoes. Well, you stay here while I go drain the potatoes. And y'all can watch that stuff, because I'm going to be right back. I like to leave my potatoes in this pot, and it helps them dry out. And so it's not a lot of liquid and not real watery in there. They dry out, and so it makes them creamier and not watery. So I'm putting 3 tablespoons of butter in these potatoes. So let's give it a little mix. We'll start it out low. And that's why I need aprons, because I splatter it all over me. Okay, so let's turn it off. Set it there for just a minute. Stay right there. And I'm going to put some buttermilk. And it doesn't take much, y'all. But this is thicker buttermilk. And you know when it's thicker, it does take a little bit more. Ooh, this is looking so good. I am going to add a little bit more. Sometimes we can't find whole buttermilk. I've got one store here, Piggly Wiggly, that I can get whole buttermilk at. And I don't know why it's been so hard to find. My son and daughter-in-law, Stephanie, and Brandon, they've tried to find it for us. And now and then, we'll come up with it. And that's it. Mashed potatoes are done. Now, I'm going to put this lid back on here. I'll just have to get another one for that. Let's take this away. And let's put our buttermilk up. Let's put up our buttermilk. Potatoes are hot. I'm going to swap these eyes around, because that eye back there is the slowest that I have, and this one's the hottest. So let's check this meat. Yes, buddy. Let's take it up. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of flour. I need some flour. And it doesn't matter whether you're using self-rising or all-purpose. Not when you're making gravy. And that's getting awful hot, isn't it? You see it smoking. You might not can. And try to get about equal parts flour and oil. And I told you I'm not measuring, so I can't tell you how much that was. Can you see in that pan? You can see a little bit in there. So I put a little bit too much flour. That's okay. It's easy to fix. There's not much you can do in cooking that you can't fix. Unless you burn something. That's noisy, isn't it? I'm sorry. Just let that flour. Now you want to cook this flour because you don't want that raw flour taste. You want to cook it out. Something hot on there. Excuse me. I don't know what that was. You want that raw flour taste out of there. I'm going to get another lid to put on that skillet. There we go. That works. And now, I'm going to try to find something less noisy to stir that with for you. You cook this and get it as brown as you want. Now what you're going to have it stuck to the bottom. There will be where you cooked your meat. It's going to be bits on the bottom, but you know that's just flavor. And when I add the liquid from this broth in there, that's going to come up. And it's just going to give that gravy more and more taste. But I do want to cook that raw flour taste. So I usually cook it 2 or 3 minutes. Couple of minutes to, start getting a little color on it. And according to how hot your pan is too, it may not take as long. And it's so good. We're going to have this done in no time. And we're going to be eating our supper. So if you got a favorite movie you want to watch, favorite program you want to watch on Friday night, get your dinner done. And it don't have to be a big meal. I'm having hamburger steaks with gravy, mashed potatoes, and cabbage. That's a meal. I've got a meat, 2 vegetables, and that's all we need. If you want to make some bread, I'm not making bread. Now he might take some sliced white bread and put some butter on it, or he might take it and put his hamburger and gravy over it. And but that's the only bread we're going to have. If we do that, I won't, but he might. Good old biscuits would be good with it, wouldn't it? You see how I'm turning this, and I've told y'all before, if I turn it this way, it's going to splatter. If I pour this way, I come backwards with it, and it poured out so smooth. Okay, so before we go any further with our liquid, and I know we're going to need some, I need to put some of my brown gravy mix in it. So I'm going to start with a couple of tablespoons. And I think I'm going to put on my beef bouillon, I think I'm going to put not quite a full tablespoon. So that's going to amount to about, 2 teaspoons. Because, 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. And I'm going to put just a tiny splash of this balsamic vinegar. That's it. That's not even a 1/4 teaspoon. Maybe all there was. Let's stir it up. Y'all give me just a minute because I've got to I've got to use this whisk. The rubber one, don't I? It wouldn't be so loud. We'll have to look at investing into some silicone. And just add more broth as you need it for the thickness you want. And if I run out of broth and I don't need a little bit, I'll use a little bit of water, because I've got all these seasonings, all these flavors in here already. So a little bit of water is not going to hurt. There we go. Now, what I want to do is I want to taste this gravy and see if I think it needs something else. Some salt or pepper. Because the bouillon is salty, and I imagine that brown gravy has a lot of salt in it as well. No, does not need salt at all. I am going to put a little bit more broth, because I'm going to put this meat back in, and it's going to be cooking for just a few more minutes. And see, that was it. This was not a full container. I had used some out of it. Oh, it's a 32-ounce box, but it wasn't a full box. Okay, so let's slip this meat back in. Can y'all see how pretty that cooked up? Looky there. Now, that's going to be so pretty with the onions on it. And besides some mashed potatoes and this gravy. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can find a lid that'll fit that skillet. Oh, perfect. Mix match, doesn't matter, it works, right? Stir our cabbage. Now that cabbage is coming along beautifully. It's done. I just want some of that liquid to cook out. So I told you I probably put a little bit too much water, but because that cabbage makes water, but it'll cook down. It will cook down. And see, this is supper. How easy is this? Can you see these onions back here getting caramelized? And I've got to hold this up and let you see how pretty. See how pretty that onion's getting in that skillet? Can you see that? Oh, and it's tender. I'm going to let it cook just a few more minutes. And then I'm going to let this cabbage cook down and get this liquid cooked out of it. And I'm going to simmer these little hamburger steaks in this gravy for a little bit. So then I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to serve it. I'm going to serve a big dollop of mashed potatoes, and I'm going to put that hamburger steak to the side of it and put some extra gravy on it and onions, and put that cabbage beside it. That's going to be supper with a big old glass of sweet tea. We can't get any better than that now, can we? I appreciate you joining me today. And I'll try to get a picture of a plate and put it at the end of this video just so you can see it. And I hope you'll join me again. And I certainly appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for all of your love and support. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.